This summit in itself is meant to be a knowledge-sharing event. So if at any point in time the floor is open for you to be able to ask questions, please.
And also drive up cost of goods. For example, in Africa, cost of logistics is 75%.
Then we have an alumnus of AP Mola, Mayesk. Have any of us seen containers written on Mayesk moving around Rwanda, Kigali? Yeah, I see it all over there.
And we're back here in Kigali to launch the next generation, which is the youthful arm that is expected to complement the activities of our governments, our industries, in accelerating the goals and achievement of EFTA.
You asked again, have I seen a difference since then and now? Yes, there has been a big difference because the numbers speak for themselves. We've had a lot of membership, new members who have joined the Institute.
So we are saying the whole of Africa, we are looking at making it better in terms of logistics. How? By way of putting up the infrastructure, logistics and supply chain infrastructure.
We have the many improvements and many experience just that we get in this conference.
At the first day of the Africa Forum at evening, future generation of the African Forum in Logistics and Transport has discussed the pertinent supply chain, logistic and transport issues affecting the African continent. We warmly welcome you to follow this conference.
You have a basic understanding, and for you to be able to have a kind of a pseudo-practical and decision-making orientation when it comes to global logistics and supply chain. This summit in itself is meant to be a knowledge-sharing event. So if at any point in time the floor is open for you to be able to ask questions, please harden not your heart and don't be shy. Especially those of you here. Those of you here have been very shy. 1, 2, going, except the 2 of you. You've been very shy. So please don't be shy, feel free. There's a knowledge share experience. We have a lot of professionals also sitting at the back. We have people from, technically in Africa, we have about 22 presence in 22 countries. And we are hoping that by the time we all leave here, we will have taken a thing or two by way of knowledge to our various homes. I'm very happy that we're starting with Melody and her team, and I actually look forward to a very engaging session. I'd also want to apologize to all of you for coming when I came, even though I think I still came at a time that I didn't entirely miss out on everything. We just had some flight challenges, and that's why I came in a bit late.
Resilient logistic and transport system to drive the implementation of Africa. But before we commence, what is Africa? What was the objective? The objective of Africa is to create a single market for goods and services in Africa, to boost intra-African trade, and to promote growth and development in Africa. Also, without an adequate system to run this, we can't also achieve those aims and objectives. That's why we have to look into logistics and transport systems in Africa critically. Now, let's see, logistics system by definition. So we have to go with my slide. It is a system, is a network of organization of people, activities, information, and resources that move products from suppliers to customers. It may include procurement, production, and distribution network or subsystems. Now, the transportation and logistics sector, especially susceptible to economic shocks. Now, logistics and transportation system is 11% of global GDP. So the logistics sector is a key enabler of commerce and trade, supporting numerous industries and services, despite its importance in our global world. Many countries still have unreliable and insufficient logistics sectors, which results in long delay and also drive up cost of goods. For example, in Africa, cost of logistics is 75% of the actual cost of product price, making goods unaffordable in local markets and uncompetitive in international markets. However, logistics companies in most of the developed parts of the world have suffered as a result of the pandemic, as demand of certain goods has fluctuated. And many countries have imposed travel restrictions, making travel and trade incredibly difficult. So now, incorporating technology has already been priority of many logistics companies. So the unprecedented challenges posed on the pandemic have encouraged even greater focus on the role of technology can play in strengthening resilience of the sector. So enabling technologies, predictive analytics, and smart logistics have proven success in streamlining and optimizing logistics operations. So, and also these challenges. For example, the global supply chain were designed to operate with high reliability at the lowest cost possible in a steady state environment. Unfortunately, supply chains have lately been unreliable. Unfortunately, supply chains have, for example, now we have microchip shortages, and that they are so expensive for ordinary companies to have access to. We have higher labor, cost of labor very high, and also commodities and ocean shipping costs, primarily because conditions have not been steady. So companies have long expressed interest in reshoring and nearshoring, that's switching to suppliers closer to the market, to their markets, and also friendshoring, using suppliers located in their local countries with they share the same values. So all of which offer certain logistical strategic and brand image advantages. The principal obstacle has been labor cost, labor availability, and deep manufacturing expertise, but advances in technology are starting to reduce these barriers. So, for example, now look at, let's go to that slide where we have the African map. Next one. Look at the African communities. The fiber network is 40 kilometers or 10 kilometers away from most of the African communities, giving them problems of connecting to the fiber, of having tech to move goods across the African countries. So now, the playbook for a resilient company, what must you do to overcome all these barriers? You must have a fast decision making to enable a well-prepared organization. You must have financial flexibility focused on cost. And you must have improved operational effectiveness and efficiency. And you must build up customer relationships and taking advantage of opportunities. So, application of technology in logistics and transport business. Look at the next slide. So I want to make this presentation as short as possible. So now, in 2008 recession, digital technology have transformed the pressure and opportunities that logistics companies face by driving a significant rise in customer expectation. Now, logistics technology is investment is pouring into areas, especially in tools for warehouse management, matching freight loads to transport capacity and cost-effective routing. So the rate of investment by venture capital firms, suggests that venture capital funding for supply tech will take over for financial tech before the end of this decade. So used to the speed, flexibility, and transparency offered, the best e-commerce operation customers increasingly expect similar services level across full transform of activities. So now, on the other side of the coin, companies now have levers to pull in addressing operational costs and efficiencies than to take availability of Internet of Things. Digital workforce, tools, advanced analytics and machine learning. Today's learning, transport and logistics companies are adopting these approaches to achieve dramatic performance and improvement. So the new generation of digital technology too can be applied across 4 base areas. their people, their processes, their supply base, and their network. So now, what do you do to your people? You must manage your people digitally. So you must improve a workforce management that has the labor-intensive nature of many activities combined with significant variability of labor demand and skills shortage in key roles, making recruiting and managing and retaining staff particularly challenging. So leading players are now applying data and advanced analytical methods such as machine learning and artificial intelligence to a broad range of workforce, management tasks, demand forecasting, capacity, planning and recruiting, daily rescheduling, and take allocation and performance management. One, for example, use data-driven approach to understand and address most significant factors that led to high rate of driver attrition. So the company started with more than 5 million data points expected from employee sentiment survey, HR, payroll, and finance systems, dispatching systems, and on-vehicle computers. So the tech and logistic companies must learn how to manage their people digitally to control a lot of backlogs in their systems. So to automate and streamline your process. So new digital approach can transform the performance of core operations as well. The right digital tool to build efficiency by revealing the full cost for salvation and asset failures, thereby reducing the need for high cost overhauls and automating routine activities such as report generation. So the improved quality and eliminating errors that can help creep when managers and frontline personnel rely on email and spreadsheet or paper documents. And they transform effectiveness, enabling decisions to be made faster with more relevant and timely, accurate data. So thirdly, you must engage your supply base. For example now, the procurement system that is run by the organization. Now most companies are going into e-procurement, whereby they digitalize their procurement system to be able to have a lot of their procurement in time and also at the best prices and also make it competitive. So the last one is reimagine your network. So network organization is a fundamental difficult as they develop their network. Transport and logistics face a multiple of complex independent decisions which must be made with incomplete data and for certain future demand. Today, development of powerful modeling, simulation, and analytic approaches is changing the way companies tackle complex network organization problems. The latest pull to divide deeper insight into not only current performance of network, but also its future performance, allowing organizations to identify bottlenecks, evaluate multiple alternative configurations, and rapidly stress designs against wide range of scenarios. So, what we need now in transport and logistics system is transformation, it's not intervention. We must be able to transform from the way we used to do things to a more digital way and a more technological approach to the way we run the logistics and transport business in Africa. So I'm going to let the panelists go on with this discussion at this moment on the 4 key areas, on the people, the process, the supply base, and the network for transport and logistic company to adopt a better technological operations. So I have been given a very short time to speak. I will now leave it to the moderator to move on from there. Thank you very much.
A show of hands. My name is Melody and I'll be your moderator today. And I've been looking at the profiles of this gentleman I'm sitting with and hey guys, give honor where honor is due. These men have worked. And I'll briefly give a short introduction of each person, and they'll speak in detail about themselves. I'll start with Mr. Alexis Lusagara, who's by my left. He's the CEO and founder of Alex Logistics. They deal in freight forwarding, shipping from Rwanda. Then we have an alumnus of AP Mola, Mayesk. Have any of us seen containers written on Mayesk moving around Rwanda, Kigali? Yeah, I see it all over there. He's an international trade facilitation and shipping operations expert with almost 2 decades of experience. Building and sustaining excellent process management systems in the logistics and supply chain sector. He is presently the country manager for One Port 365 Limited. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Sheyi Oluwatoyi. Then we have Mr. Stephen Fola Badejo. I hope I say that right. He's a tech entrepreneur. He's the founder and CEO of the Removalist Logistics. Do any of us know AGS? Just so we can put a connect to it. So he's the AGS of Nigeria and better. So it's a relocation company and a Logitruck Technologies, a full e-logistics company connecting vetted and trusted truckers to B2B, B2C, and B2G businesses that need to move their cargo and freight across Nigeria and Africa. Both companies have their HQ in Lagos, Nigeria, with partners across Africa and Europe. Both companies came into existence by divine intervention, first in 2015 and second in 2020, during the heat of the pandemic. Since founding these companies, they have gone ahead to serve and still are serving major multinationals and local brands across Nigeria and Africa. Please put our hands together for Mr. Stephen. He is the co-founder. Guys, we have many C's in the house. The chiefs are quite. He's the co-founder and chief operating officer of Jetstream Africa. He has over 11 years of experience in supply chain, shipping and freight operations, and customs regulations. Previously to founding Jetstream, he held various leadership positions at AP Mola Maersk, a global integrated shipping and logistics company headquartered in Copenhagen, Denmark, and operating in 130 countries across the world. Please put your hands together for Mr. Solomon Turbo. He founded the Hub Global Group Limited with 3 focus areas: Hub Global Logistics, Hub Global Commodities, and Hub Global Chemicals. With over 15 years experience as a CEO and group chairman, and a proven track record of delivering the right products in the right quantities to the right location at the right time. Please put your hands together for Mr. Habibu Lukman. So I see some ladies in the house. I feel very protected with all these men, but it would be nice to have a bit of ladies next time here. So I'm encouraging us, my dear sisters. Let's have these profiles, and trust me, we'll be up here. Let's work to it.
Okay, can I have it louder? Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it's next gen, so there should be more energy than that. So thank you, Melody, for the question. I'm super excited to be here, definitely. After is Africa Continental Free Trade Area, our key speaker for the year has spoken extensively about that, and I don't want to go over the ground all over again. But to connect it to the role that technology plays, maybe I'll repeat some of the things that he has said with this foundation, okay? The goal of AFTA is to build a single market for Africa, to promote trade within the continent. And it's not peculiar to the Africa continent, it's a practice that we've seen everywhere else in the world. Europe has this, we have it within the Americas and what have you. And ultimately, the agenda is going to create a single market where there is free movement of goods and services with reduced trade barriers. Traditionally, maybe I would also like to maybe break things down a little bit further. Traditionally, countries protect themselves, protect internal production by raising barriers for external goods to come in by levies and taxes. So, but when levies and taxes are charged, then it makes it difficult for goods and services coming from outside those countries. In Kigali, in 2018, the same Kigali where we are, right? So it's been a great start, and it has different phases. Let me connect it now to the role that technology is going to play. It has different phases. The first phase is the phase of movement of goods and services. The second phase, which is phase 2, will deal with intellectual property rights. And the third phase is going to deal with e-commerce. And you cannot talk about e-commerce without talking about technology, definitely. And what role will technology play? Let me expand further. International trade, by its design, it's marked by a lot of need for trust. Because we are very likely paying someone that you have not seen, hoping that the person will send the goods that you saw in the picture, and a lot of trust has to be built for trade to be able to scale. Over time, I was doing a bit of study on how the European Union developed their own free trade agenda and the likes, and three key agenda, or 3 key enablers, let me call them enablers, were mentioned. One, it is to see to it that there is women empowerment. So Melody, you weren't wrong to expect that women will be here. Women empowerment, that is a biodiverse trade, is critical. Number 2 is the need to see that the businesses or trade has some climate resilience. And number 3 is technological innovation. So it's not going to be different for Africa. So we are not going to start reinventing the wheel. Technology has been at the forefront of saying to it that trade can be scaled, trade can gain speed, and trade can gain scope. So technology has a critical role to play. I talked about trust the other time. For you to be able to trust, technology has made it possible to create visibility. So maybe before now you have to pay, then you hope that the goods arrive at some point, but with the aid of technology, you can know where your goods are at any given point in time. I'll give an example of 14365. A couple of weeks, maybe months now, we had some cargo precisely at Hibiscus flower coming from up north Nigeria, precisely from Kano. Now, we have a device that we normally will put on the container that we share with the cargo owner, that the person can see what is happening up until the time that the cargo gets to the port. And that also can be shared with the buyer that is overseas. So with that, there is a way to build trust, not just by asking to be trusted, but by leveraging technology to build trust. And the stronger trust is, the faster trade can grow. Because you bother yourself less about wondering about, is this person genuine, is this person authentic, and the likes. So trade within Africa will be further strengthened with technology, because trust can be stronger, scope can be stronger, scale can be stronger, and speed can be faster. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A container gets to a vessel, then the last mile by truck or by air. Really, what is the relevance of technology to logistics and transport systems?
Thank you. Technology, I want to explain by saying that it's anything that allows members in the supply chain and logistics industry to communicate amongst each other. And this includes moving goods, like you mentioned, be it first mile, last mile transport, but it also goes beyond that to include the storage of the goods until it gets to the final destination. You equally realize that it begins right from manufacturing, from the manufacturing stage, when the final producer needs to let go of the items. Technology includes the ability to communicate, like I mentioned. The logistics infrastructure is the equipment the player has. So the trucks are one, the warehousing system is another one. How seamless these are able to communicate is very key over here. And the success you realize is that when you walk into any office, be it the regulator's office, the notary's office, you agree with me that they have laptops and computers, right? And they always have a smartphone. But the challenge is that there are not any interoperability between them. So when you make a data input, you have to start all over when you cross into another office and repeat the process. So that is an impediment. Technology having to communicate seamlessly is the way to go. So yes, driving a truck is number one. Having the goods in the warehouse until it gets to the final place is key over here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Solomon. Mr. Alexi, you're operating a fairly big freight forwarding company in Rwanda.
Yeah, so I'm Usman Shuaibu, the Deputy Global Chairperson for the CILT Next Generation. And today we are here to join our brothers to celebrate this important milestone, establishing one of the most vibrant and promising next generation network in Africa. So we have the Next Generation Rwanda will join us as the 12th chapter of the Next Generation from the global family, and we're happy that they make it as the 12th member of the Next Generation Africa. As we know that transport and logistics are vital for the movement of goods and services within the continent, and it is the right time where we're in a city where the idea of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreements hatched, which is in Kigali. And we're back here in Kigali to launch the Next Generation, which is the youthful arm that is expected to complement the activities of our governments, our industries, in accelerating the goals and achievement of EFTA. And that's why we're confident and we're here to join the celebration of EFTA.
So according to last year and this year when you come back, is there improvement and development?
Yeah, I must tell you that when I first arrived at the airports, and I always wonder whether I am in Europe or I'm in Africa. That shows that the people have worked hard and they have put the system in place, and I can feel the efficiency of some of the services that I'm enjoying here in Rwanda. And I believe the young, vibrant guys that we have in our network will actually push more innovation, more creativity, more zeal, and more energy to drive the process and programs. The people are very important as they contribute to knowledge and they contribute their intellect and innovation and creativity to develop our trade and to move goods more freer and cheaper.
So what is the goal?
So the overall objectives is we're building the next generation of leaders in transport and logistics. And we have them in the continent of Africa. It's a younger continent, it's a beautiful continent, and it has all it takes to be great.
Good afternoon, my name is John Nyaneza, and we're here today to launch officially the next generation chapter of CILT. CILT stands for Chartered Institute for Logistics and Transport. Like you rightfully said, this is the second function that we have had in Rwanda. The first function was to officially launch CILT in Rwanda, and today we are more focused on the next generation, which is what we are launching. You asked again, have I seen a difference since then and now? Yes, there has been a big difference because the numbers speak for themselves. We've had a lot of membership, new members who have joined the Institute, and we're looking forward to having even more members join the Institute, especially within the young generation, because they are the future leaders of our industry.
So what's the challenges you face for the first time these events happened?
Fewer numbers of people not knowing about what CILT is, what it stands for. Now we've mobilized, we've gone down to the ground, we've reached out to a number of people within the industry. There's better knowledge of CILT. There's a lot of interest from the young generation wanting to join CILT, so there's quite an improvement there.
Okay, what's the goal?
The goal is to have a professional sector that is run by young professionals who have the proper skills and have the perfect knowledge of what exactly it is that is required of them in logistics.
Yes, my name is Jacob Clements. I'm an expert trainer at IPRCKigali in logistics and supply chain. This is a conference on the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. Of course, yes, it's the second time that it's being held here in Rwanda. The first time it was when the AfCFTA, or the African Continent Free Trade Area, was actually generated. It was actually done here in Kigali. But this time now around is the issue to do with logistics and infrastructure development as an engine for the sustainable development and implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. So we are saying the whole of Africa, we are looking at making it better in terms of logistics. How? By way of putting up the infrastructure, logistics and supply chain infrastructure, which will then enable the whole of Africa to trade amongst themselves. The issue is to say, from this point, my point of view is that the colleges and universities are actually playing a very big role in actually bringing in the issues to do with logistics and infrastructure development. How? By way of training, by way of research, and also by issue, because when we are training the next generation. Hence, this particular conference is talking about the next generation.
Okay, so are the students get improvement in this?
Yes.
Some generations?
Yes. If you check in the next generation room, we are actually having students, a big number there are students. Because when we look at students, we are actually looking at the next generation. And when we talk about technology, we are actually talking about the next generation in terms of the technology. They are actually better and advanced. So this is actually putting them at a better place. Because from there, we have the year 1 students, we have the year 2 students, and the year 2 students are already going into the industry for attachment, which is actually going to take them on for issues to do with attachment and implementation.
So what are the challenges first for the first time this event happened?
I can't say there were challenges per se, but this is a step ahead because everything starts. You see, when everything is starting, it is being implemented, and then the next thing you will be on the other phase, which I would not say there were challenges, but I can actually say they are the country at large, and even the institutions, and even the organization CILT is actually getting better by day. So,
thank you. My name is Dufutumukiza Lilian. I'm a student in logistics at IPRCKigali. So we are glad to join this conference of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. So, and it is now opportunities of joining this conference because we have the many improvements and the many experience just we get in this conference. So the main purpose of this conference is to launch the next generation. So as the youth generation, we want to show what are we doing or what is our capability, and so the theme of day or the theme of this conference is about logistics and infrastructure development as an engine for the sustainable implementation of African continental free trade areas. So it's about to make the single trade in the whole African by removing the trade barriers, like tariffs and taxes.
Okay, so is there any benefits here in some development? Okay, is it your first time to join this meeting?
Yes, for the first time.
So what are some benefits, some challenges did you face?
So I am glad to meet with the experts in logistics because we come here without knowing how about logistics is, but we get the more information because there are some and many experts from the different countries in Africa. So I think it's our opportunities because we get the many information and more experience about how we learn.
So there are so many students who are watching right now. So what is what's an advice you can tell them so that they can come to you and join you?
Yeah, so I advise my colleagues to just put power and put an effort in what we have learned, because we have an opportunities. We are first coming in this logistics. As in our school, we are the first promotion, so there is many opportunities about this department of logistics and transport.
Okay, you have mentioned some opportunities, so can you mention some, maybe 2 or 3?
Opportunities,
yes,
about this
department.
Some
benefits.
Yeah, for example, here in our Rwanda, we just move the goods in different parts of our countries, or and in the export or in the external of our country. So logistics about the packaging of goods, so we have to make sure what is the problem facing in packaging, as we have learned in this conference. That's for the first opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.